Glendy reckons he's a lucky guy. A General Motors man since the mid-90s, but laid off from a plant in Wisconsin, he transferred his entire family to Detroit.
We have a lot of people that are just happy to be back to work, not being unemployed. They know when their next paycheck's coming, so yeah, I think everybody's really happy just to be back to work.
The big three U.S. automakers are leading the economic recovery in Michigan. GM was bailed out by the U.S. government, but has since slimmed down, taken back some of the laid-off workers and returned to profit. But the auto industry isn't the only engine of growth in Michigan.
Green technology is absolutely, if not one of the ways, the way out of the state that we're in.
Robert Allen and his brother saw a gap in the market for solar energy. They developed a solar roofing shingle with backing from the state of Michigan, which has been courting green technology companies.
Michigan went over the top for us, advising us, putting us in front of the right people.
There are still many run-down buildings in downtown Detroit, a city devastated by the financial crisis. But cheap real estate prices plus state and city incentives mean major companies have begun committing to the city, like mortgage firm Quicken Loans with 2,000 jobs, and the health giant Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is consolidating 3,000 staff downtown.
Michigan can only be strong when the core cities are strong. And so this is really a statement about supporting our region.
Talk of economic recovery is not confined to Michigan's major urban centres like Detroit, but it can be found right across the state. On one side of 48th Street here in Holland, Michigan, nothing but cornfields. Behind me, a brand new factory owned by the South Korean company LG to build batteries for electric vehicles. And the hope is that other companies will follow, making this the battery-making centre in the United States. But political watchers say whatever the hopeful signs, next year's presidential election could still be very close.
The Obama administration has spent a lot of time in Michigan and a lot of money in terms of green energy and rail money with stimulus. But on the other hand, you have a Republican governor and Republican legislature, and if Mitt Romney is the nominee, he has a very big power base here in terms of fundraising since he was born in the state. So I think it will be neck and neck.
Regardless of who wins the White House next time, the workers here are just glad their plant is running at full tilt and that they've helped to put Michigan back on the road again. We don't want to leave you with the impression that all is sweetness and light here in Detroit and in Michigan, because clearly it is not. We are still living through the effects of a terrible downturn, and there is still extreme poverty in Detroit and in other places like Grand Rapids, Michigan, for example. And in the urban centers, something like 50 to 60% of the population are illiterate, and only a quarter of all school children actually graduate high school. And those who are critical of the green shoots that we've been talking about say, look, come on, how can high-tech, high-paid, high-skilled jobs at the automakers and the solar panel factory and the battery factory, how can they help people who can barely read or write? But those who are running the city and the state at the moment, and those who've been doing it for the last couple of years, are absolutely determined that they must do something because the alternative is worse.